and I'm going to have you guys muted. And if you need to ask a question, which you can, of course, you can unmute yourself or you can type it in the chat. Okay. So then that way I have the chat up so you guys can ask that way too. So my name is Dr. Stacy Holweger. I'm excited you guys are here tonight. I'm excited to share with you some information about this technology and how it works, and also be able to get all of your questions answered in the next 55 minutes. So get your notebooks ready. Make sure you have all your questions written down. As I'm talking, I'll probably address most of them, but there may be some that you don't get addressed, and I want to make sure that we get that taken care of for you guys. Okay. So with that, I'm going to share this tech. So this is what it looks like. So the person that invited you here so you could hear more about this stem cell activation patch from the company LifeWave and some of the other patches that we are going to be talking about tonight. Okay. So we're going to start with this because this is the foundation. This is the main patch that we want to talk about. And basically, this is a non-transdermal patch. You can see how it's sticky, right? And so you're very familiar, I'm sure, with transdermal patches. Transdermal means transferring something into the body, like a pain patch or a birth control patch or a nicotine patch, hormone patch, right? And so this does not work that way. Non-transdermal means nothing transfers in. So then how does this work if it's not putting anything into your body? This patch, it works with what's called photobiomodulation or phototherapy or light therapy. This is a wearable light technology, okay? And so what happens is our body emits light. We know that, right? We emit a low-level infrared light. If you guys feel yourself, you're 98.6. That heat or light that is being emitted from the body can be seen at night through night vision goggles. If you go outside, look across the street at your neighbor, you're not going to see them unless you look through goggles, and then you can see the color, right? The outline, the red, the green, the yellow, the blue of the person across the street, or maybe the cow in the pasture or the horse in the barn, right? And so this patch works with that light. So when we apply this to our skin, our body's light reflects back a signal from this patch. And that signal increases your stem cell production. So I want you to think about this. So if we go outside right now, I think where most all of you are, it's still sunny. And so when the sun, its specific wavelength hits our skin, it signals our body to increase its own its own vitamin D production, right? The specific wavelength of light from the sun hits the skin, signals the body to increase vitamin D. So when we put this patch on, our body's light, we're the baby suns, right? Not the sun out there. Our body's light reflects back a signal, and that signal increases our stem cell production. Does that make sense to you guys? Clear as mud. Okay, good. So basically what you need to know is in the morning when you get up, you put this thing on the back of your neck, that bumpy vertebrae, or you put it down below your belly button. You're going to leave it on 12 hours. During that time, it's activating, elevating, mobilizing your own stem cells. We know we're born with an abundance of stem cells, right? That's why 5-year-olds don't have gray hair, 10-year-olds don't have back pain, and 12-year-olds don't have heart disease, because they have boundless amounts of stem cells constantly going to work to repair and regenerate their little bodies. That's why they sleep at the drop of a hat. They have unlimited amounts of energy. They're go, 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 nonstop. They may fall out of a tree, fall off their bike, they take off going, right? Because of their stem cells in their body. Well, we know as we age, we make less and less stem cells. By the time you're in your 30s, obviously I can't see, but a few of you guys on here, I don't know how old you are, but by the time you're in your 30s, you're making about half the stem cells you did when you were a kid. By the time you're in your 60s, you're less than 10% detectable in the bloodstream. Now, what does that mean for your repair? I mean, if Johnny falls out of the tree and he breaks his arm, he's going to take off going the next day. If Grandma falls down, she's going to be in bed with that broken bone for weeks or months on end because the stem cells aren't there. So this technology, no matter if you're 2 or 102, signals your body to increase its own stem cell production. Those stem cells are pluripotent, which means they can turn into any type of cell, tissue, or organ that your body needs. You guys, you know your body knows how to heal itself, right? Like it has its own innate ability to know how to do that. When you cut your finger or you break your bone, the cast or the Band-Aid don't heal the body. The inside of the body does, the stem cells, right? And so knowing that when you give your body those young, youthful, vibrant, healthy stem cells, they're going to go to work to repair whatever's needed in your body, whether it's your brain or your kidney or your spleen or your back or your toe, right? Your body knows how to repair itself. And so this technology says, hey, do what you did when you were younger. Let's go to work to repair this person's body. Why? Because you probably have a grocery list of issues you're dealing with, right? How many of you guys have pain? How many of you guys don't sleep 8 solid, deep REM hours of sleep every night? How many of you guys walk into rooms and you forget why you walked in the room? You turn around and walk out, hoping to trigger your memory as to why you even walked in, right? How many of you guys don't have mental clarity? You don't have boundless amounts of energy. You're not like running around, running marathons or doing, 25 miles on your bike or, even maybe having conversations with friends like you used to because you're too darn tired at night. You just want to go home and go to bed, but then you don't get good sleep when you do. I don't know. Then let's not even talk about like diseases and disorders, right? Like autoimmune, right? Or things that people deal with that are on that grocery list that are more severe than just some pain, or even pain can be very severe, right? When you're in pain and you don't sleep good, then your mental clarity is not good. Your quality of life is down the toilet. And so using this technology is going to address those things right off the bat. It's going to address your pain level, right? It's going to increase your body's stem cell production to go to work to help alleviate the pain. It's going to address your sleep, deep REM sleep. For my husband, he used to get 3 times in the middle of the night. He was a dirt bike racer, so he broke every bone in the body. And so getting his body back into balance, getting rid of that pain happened within the first 3 to 4 weeks. Getting him sleeping through the night without getting up in the middle of the night, which didn't wake me up in the middle of the night, was very important. And that happened within those first 3 to 4 weeks, right? And so, and since then, like mental clarity and focus and concentration is through the roof, right? And faster wound healing, right? So like when he would play golf, everything would hurt, from all the walking and the broken bones and all this stuff. And now it's like, boom, doesn't miss a beat, right? If he has a little ankle pain from playing golf, I slap an ice wave on him, the pain's gone instantly. And it's like he never even sat there for 18 holes in the hot Florida sun. Okay. And so being able to have the best quality of life is what this is about. But also, I do understand that many of you probably have some more serious issues or health concerns, things you're dealing with. And we are not here to treat, to diagnose, or to cure anything that's going on in your life. But I can share with you that if you're having specific issues, we can talk about what the systems of the body and what these different patches do. For example, the X39, we know that it improves your immune system, your digestive system, your nervous system, your cardiovascular system. We can see the improvements in your brain, and we see all this through clinical studies. Okay. We have over 90 clinical studies, double-blind, placebo, independent researchers and labs across the globe. So you can go to a website. If you want to write this down, it's startx39.com. And you can see the inventor of this technology. His name is David Schmidt. I'll share with you briefly his little story of how he came to be the inventor, the scientist, the researcher, the owner, and the CEO of this company back 20 years ago, because I think it's really important that you understand that this is a science-based company. Yes, we are sharing this information with people word of mouth, person to person, one at a time, or 1 to 16. But this is definitely rooted in facts with people. We have done these clinical studies with people, not petri dishes in a science situation in a laboratory. Now, obviously the studies, before we even got to the studies, the technology was invented in the lab, but the studies have been done with people, places like Harvard and Stanford and Oxford. So very credible places all over the globe. But we also have a 20-year patent on this patch, and there are patents on all of the technology as well too. So know that it's backed by science and also proven to be effective in doing what it says it does. So David was working with the Navy SEALs. He's almost 60. He's been an inventor and scientist his entire life, and he was asked to invent different things for them on their subs for oxygenation and sustainability. And they asked him to invent something to increase the sustainability, endurance, and stamina and energy of the SEALs in the field. And so he was downloaded by the divine, given by the divine, the idea to create a non-transdermal patch that turns body fat into fuel. That is called the energy enhancer. Now, those of you that are a little bit older, like I am, or older than that, you may not remember this from the Navy SEALs, right? Because of course we didn't really typically know what was going on the SEALs, right? Undercover on their missions. But after what I'm going to tell you next, you will remember, I believe. But after this went so well for the SEALs, of course, in 2001, 9/11 happened. The government, the Department of Defense, took a very different turn and obviously went to protect the country and stop the mission with the SEALs. So David decided to start his own company because of how well this was going, and he had ideas for other patches. You probably remember this from the USA Olympic swim team in the early 2000s. If you guys remember the big controversy back then, we had newspapers that we actually read. I remember my mom and dad reading the newspaper, on the TV, the Olympians, the board, we had to test this. All the USA Olympic team swept the gold, and they had to test these because you can't put something into the body that could alter the performance of the body. And so, of course, they went through the whole, testing process and proved, yes, 100% nothing was going in. So this was allowed for the USA Olympic swim team that year. And of course, they got to sweep the gold. Still to this day, the USA Olympians are using these patches. Michael Phelps wears them. We had a USA hopeful last year that was using them in the trials as well, too, as Wimbledon and many other sports teams, football and basketball, and, across the globe. We're in 81 countries. But this was the start of the company. And so over the last 20 years, David has invented a dozen patches to help people improve their quality of life, whether it's helping them get out of pain or improve their sleep or reduce inflammation or help with anxiety or stress or depression. But it took him 10 years in the lab, 10 years to figure out how to fix the body, to increase its own stem cell production, to be able to help the body get back into homeostasis. And so that 10-year mark is what his crowning, glory of his research and development over the last 20 plus years in inventing, but it's made massive amounts of difference in people in the last 2.5, almost 3 years now, improving their quality of life. And so that's why it's just really now starting to take off. Japan is our #1 market. USA here is, we're a little behind the games versus Japan, and that's okay. But we are sharing with people like wildfire as fast as we can because of the impact of what's happening to people. And so we really just wanted to bring this information to you, see what specific questions you have, how we can help you determine what's best for you. Please know that there are no side effects other than regeneration and restoration and repair and rejuvenation. Other than that, you have no contraindications. If you're using any medications, you can use any medications you're currently on. Because there's nothing going into the body, there's nothing to interact with your medication. So it's just signaling your body to do what it already was created to do. And it's just saying, hey, let's signal that again. So no need to worry if you're on medications, if you're doing specific therapies or programs or treatments, protocols. If you are on chemotherapy by chance, then we would not use the patch on the day that you're on chemotherapy or radiation, because of course they kill everything, but you can use it on the days that you're not. Pacemakers, hip replacements, it's all good. The only thing is if you have a foreign organ in your body, I don't know if you guys have heart transplants or kidney or liver transplants, lung transplants. If you have a foreign organ, you would not use the stem cell activation patch. But other than that, you're good to go. So what questions do you guys have for me? You can either type them in the chat or you can unmute yourself and I'll answer, or Holly and Joann, any of you guys can answer as well too.
So Stacy, you were saying if we have a foreign organ, kidney, lung, whatever transplant, that the only patch that you cannot use is the X39 or the X49?
Correct.
And that's because that they increase the stem cells.
Yeah, because those stem cells are going to go to something in their body that's not theirs. It's someone else's organ and say,
exactly,
we need to get this out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have someone else's organ in your body, you're on probably huge immunosuppressant drugs, right?
Yes.
So you're not going to use the X39. So that population is obviously a teeny tiny fraction of the people we work with. But I just want to make that known, just so you guys know, that is the only thing that you can't have someone else's heart in your body and use the stem
I found 2 feathers on my walk today.
nice. I love it.
Turkey feathers, aren't they awesome?
Those are beautiful. Mm-hmm. Yep. What other questions do you guys have?
Stacy, could you just talk a little bit about the ability or the time frame that it takes for you to start and how much it re-ages, or not re-ages, but takes the age of the body back biologically, the regeneration aspect of it?
Yeah. So basically, the way this works is we are all different. So, when you take a medication, they're like, well, you're probably going to see results in this time frame, or we're going to cover this up in this time frame, or you may notice that. I don't know what order your body's going to regenerate in. I don't know what is the most pressing issue inside of your body that your body needs to stay alive, and probably you don't either. Right? You may think, well, I've got heart issues, I've got blood pressure issues, I've got cholesterol issues. You may have bigger issues in your spleen or in your liver that you're not even aware of, or in your brain, right? You may be on the verge of an aneurysm and have no idea. I don't know that. Your body knows that. And so with that being said, I can tell you what clinical studies show. And clinical studies show that about 80% of the people are going to experience pretty significant dramatic experiences, right? Within the first 3 to 6 weeks. They're going to experience pain reduction. They're going to experience a deeper REM sleep. They're going to experience more mental clarity and energy and focus and concentration and more recovery and ease of daily activities and fitness and things like that. We can also see around that 3 to 6 week mark pretty good improvements in people's nervous systems, right? You're either fight or flight, go, 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 or you're rest and digest and calm and relaxed, right? So we see improvements in the nervous system. We also see improvements in the digestive system around that 3 to 6 week mark, and also the immune system, right? Which of course is housed in your digestive system. But what it's working on first for you, I'm not really for sure. We can see by clinical studies every 6 weeks using this X39 patch literally reverses the functionality of your heart and your entire vascular system by 2 months. Every 6 weeks, your heart becomes 2 months younger. Every 6 weeks, it's 2 months younger. We can see this from clinical studies, right? We can see this from looking at EKGs, at echoes, HRVs. We can monitor the ejection fraction of the heart, right? The flow of the blood in and out of the vascular system and the vessels. And so we can see the improvement in the functionality of that vascular system. But we can see the same things in your brain. We can see more coherence. We can see more of a calm, relaxed state of brain, a more focused brain as the weeks and the months go on. Kind of a general rule of thumb is every 6 months is about 8 years younger. But I will share with you, for me, 6 months in, I had my biomarkers done, and it showed that I was 30 years old. I'll be 48 next month. And so that was pretty exciting to see that I was farther back than that, 8 years. But I know I'm into regenerative medicine anyways. I'm into prevention. So I'm sure I was probably younger than my actual, biological age at that time. My really good friend, Laura, she's 60. And she had breast cancer 4 years ago and healed herself through IV supplementation, detoxification, nutrition. And she had her biomarkers done as well too. Same place. She's the one that told me about that naturopath. And she's 60, or she'll be 60 in November. Her showed she was 40. So she was super excited about that, being 20 years younger. Just talked to my sister-in-law today. She went to the exact same naturopathic doctor. She's been going there. My sister-in-law was one of those people with grocery lists this long. Like, it wasn't this long at 53, it was this long. And she's had, the whole fibromyalgia for 20 years and the chronic fatigue. And she's had the neck surgery, and she'd had the, the front of the neck going into the back surgery. And was on like 5-6 medicines and anxiety and pain and all this stuff. I mean, she had a horrible quality of life. until the end of last year. She started using the patches in June, and she decided, okay, I'm strong enough now that I've got to make some changes. I've got to get off these medicines. I've got to detox my body. Okay, so here she is now, just a little over a year later, went to have her biomarkers done. Now she's on no medicines anymore. She has no more pain. She has a massive improvements in her quality of life. She's happy as can be. She sleeps through the night, nothing, right? And she goes, I was a little bummed. My biomarker, she said, I'm 53. My biomarker said I'm 50. And she said, it's not far back like yours. And I said, well, Michelle, I had no problems, girl. Like, you've had 20 years of insanity and going on inside of your body. And so to be able to come off all your medications and have like the best quality of life now and still be 3 years younger on the cellular age, I said, give it 6 more months or another year. And she was like, okay, I know it's not too bad. I said, you've made massive improvements in the last, 12, 14 months from using these patches. And she agreed. So we're all different, right? Of course, with what's going to happen in our body. Just know that the compound effect, the longer you use the patch, the more results you'll get, the more benefit you'll get, and it will be exponential. You'll start to see this kind of snowball effect in the right direction of what you want, right? Which is vitality and regeneration and longevity, right? So the patents, that's a great question, Adam. If you go to startx39.com, you will see all the patents. Yep. And you will see, thank you, Holly, for typing it in there. You will see all of the clinical studies as well, too. So you can click on there and find them all. Great questions. What other questions do you guys have? Besides the fact that every time I see Holly, she's younger looking, skinnier and younger. Every time I see you.
I feel fantastic. I just have to say, it's just amazing. My hair, I have hair. That's fantastic.
And I've known her for 15 years, and we've reconnected here at the end of May. And so every time I see you, though, you look younger. You look younger. Your color, you're more vibrant, vital, full of life. You can tell you're full of life.
I did have a very interesting experience the other day, just to mention. I had used the sleep patch, which I had been getting really good sleep since I started X39, but I was away and I says, all right, let me use this. And I used the aloe vera when I got up in the morning, and I went outside. The colors of everything was so much more vibrant and different. And I've noticed a great improvement in my eyes. I had hit my head once when I was like 17 skiing, and I didn't see colors for a couple hours. So I think it actually goes back to that, because it's different than any way that my eyes have worked in my history of thinking. And I'm like, wow, this is cool.
So you used aloe vera.
I used aloe vera. Yeah, I've been using the X49 and the X39, and I've been doing the tummy protocol. I've definitely been having a positive change in my body composition, losing weight, feeling well. It's just amazing. But the change in my brain, and even this may sound silly, but I was at a school event the other day, and normally I would always have to go look at the board. Okay, what's the passcode to get in the bathroom and hit the numbers? Well, I only looked at it once and I remembered it every time I had to go to the bathroom. Like, that's simple and easy, but I always had to relook at everything. And so things are just flowing and easier. So that's really neat.
Awesome.
Now, my question is, somebody that's younger, like 18, 19, 20, what about using the stem cell patches per se with somebody at that age? Would you go more to just the supportive patches, or would you use the X39?
That's a great question. Let me say one thing first about the aloe vera. So the aloe vera signals a peptide, an epithelium peptide in the pineal gland.
Oh.
Yeah. So that would be why you are now experiencing so much different from that spectrum, right, of light and that.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. That one's the one that lengthens your telomeres too.
I'll take it.
Yeah, right. They determine the length of your life. That's a great question. Okay, so as far as someone that's younger, for example, my son Trey, right? When I started using these patches, and he was 16. And so why would I use the X39 on him for any amount of time? So when I listened to David right after I found this patch last year, he said, you know, typically you wouldn't think that any child, you know, under 18 or even under 25 would need any type of stem cell. They should have tons and tons of stem cell, right? And he said, but the thing is, in today's world, our kids are exposed to way too much. They're exposed to so many toxicities in the environment and the food and the water and the EMFs, right, alone. He said they're just exposed to so much. Even if you give them 1 to 2 months to really kind of bump up their stem cell production, let those go to work to repair anything that may be hiding in there, right? Give them a little bit of that. And so that's what I did with my son. I had him use the patches for the first X39 and Eon was maybe the first month. And then I had him use the energy enhancer and carnosine. He's a big workout guy. And so, you know, energy endurance, obviously, and then carnosine is for muscle repair, tissue repair. And so and of course, working out. And so I had him, it's for a lot of things, but that's the reason why I had him using it. And then from there, it really, I guess it depends on the person, right? How many kids do we know that have issues? They have anxiety, they have stress, they have depression, they have maybe some neurological things, ADD, ADHD, you know, there's a lot going on the spectrum and whatnot with our young population today. And so being able to have them give a little upper edge, right? Give them a little advantage of increasing their own stem cells. We know that those stem cells, you know, they go to work physically, mentally, and emotionally, right? They're rewiring neural networks in the body. And you can see this, especially in the brain studies. So in today's world, I don't think there's, you know, obviously we can't recommend anything for a child under 18. We don't have any clinical studies on them, but yet we have, you know, tens of thousands of people that are using them with their, you know, kids because of the fact that they are exposed to so much. So age-wise, for example, Trey, when we came out with X49, being a basketball player, being big in the gym and lifting weights, that in 1 month, it dramatically increased his gains in the gym and on the court. He's the only kid that can run end to end and never stop the whole game, where the other ones need breaks. And Trey's not a cardio. He does not train. He does not run, but he has the endurance and the stamina and the strength. He has gotten so big over the last, you know, year, using, especially since the X39, X49 combo. And I don't mean big, like, you know, steroid looking, you know, Hulk big. I mean, like big and strong and muscular and healthy from using those two patches. And I have so many kids that are tennis players. That's how I found out about this technology. Actually, originally was a tennis pro coach. And one of the kids he was teaching, he asked the mom if there was somebody that could help with meditation, breath work in his new fitness recovery athletic wellness center. And she asked me, I know her from yoga. And so she connected us. And he had been testing, and this goes right into what you asked, Adam. He had been testing this patch himself. And so I met him in April. He found these patches in February, and he was testing them using his Whoop and looking at the metrics himself personally on his anxiety, on his sleep, his REM sleep, on his recovery, his stress, his fitness abilities, and his overall general scores of well-being, right? And if you know anything about the Whoop or the Aura Ring, you can see day to day, right? It's tracking everything for you about yourself. And so he found it in February, and you could see his colors went from reds and yellows to more of the greens and less of the reds, right? He showed me when I found these patches at his place, he's like, oh my God, yeah, the stem cell activation patch. And I'm like, I've never heard of this technology. I have to have it immediately because I've spent 20 years researching stem cells. And you guys know I've done over, 10 years of stem cell therapies in and out of the country with my daughter. And so this tech I'd never heard of. And so I'm like, that's fantastic. I knew what a Whoop was. And then he said, but I thought it was a placebo because, your mind is so powerful, right? And of course we have double-blind placebo studies. So you can check those out on the website, Adam, of course. We're not going to just, think that it's working. You have to prove that it's working. You have to prove that it's working in the blood on the cellular level. And of course, like I said, there are double-blind placebos. But anyway, so he showed me, he stopped using the patch in March. And he goes, now you'll see that my things still improved, but they weren't as improved as dramatically as the 30 days that I was using the patch every single day. But they were still better. So then he said, here's when I meet him, right? In April, I met him the end of April, and he goes, now here I am back on again. And by the end of the month, like everything was green. Everything had went where before there were reds and there were some yellows and greens, but there were more reds and yellows in different areas. And being a tennis coach, he takes very good care of himself, but still, there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of anxiety, sleep issues were there, of course, and recovery was not that fast. He was probably in his mid-60s, early to mid-60s. So anyways, all greens, right? Like just huge, massive difference. And I said, that's fantastic, Lance. I'm so happy for you. Give me this technology. I need it right now for my daughter. So it's like, how much is it? Here's your cash, buy him out the door. Of course, I did all the stuff he needed, meditation and breath work. But as far as being subjective, I totally get that. So you can use whatever modality you want to measure yourself. Some people use biofeedback, some people use neurofeedback, some use HRVs, BioWell. It depends on what you want to do. We have, AO scans. I mean, we have a health tracker that you can rate yourself, obviously, scale of 1 to 10. But if you want to see something actual, like physical, that is a test that is done, then you can definitely, or go get your blood work done, right? Go get all your biomarkers done. Go see what your blood work shows for you right now, if you want to go that route as well too. Or if you want to get an EKG, or, whatever types of modalities of tests that you work with your doctor or practitioner, you can definitely do those ahead of time to track yourself and monitor your progress. I would say every 90 days to 6 months to see where you're at. Because of course that compound effect is what we're really looking at, right? That 90 days, 60 6 months and beyond, depending on your age. I don't know how old you are. So the general rule of thumb is 1 month for every 10 years you are old. And that's given that you're healthy, right? You have no health conditions, nothing going on. But you might want to look at, for example, like with my sister-in-law, who's been dealing with stuff for, 20 years. I mean, she's not doing too bad. And that's pretty common for people within their first year. I've been using this technology for 14 months with my clients, and I work with hundreds and hundreds of practitioners and doctors across the globe and their clients. And so I have 14 months of data myself, not in the format of any kind of clinical study. I'll tell you that, because that is not my wheelhouse. My wheelhouse is store things in file folders. So I can tell you any type of testimonial you want. I've got it stored in my brain, or I can search it for you on our Telegram. We have over 3,000 recorded testimonials from people. But I can definitely say that without a shadow of doubt, the people that are still using the patch, here we are, let's just say 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, 14 months, they look different for sure. They feel different. Their vitality is completely different. They have, if not everything, checked off that grocery list of problems. They've got a big chunk of it that's gone, and their quality of life is dramatically improved for the price of a cup of coffee a day. So days are going to go on, weeks are going on, months are going on, no matter what. But it's just, are we going to continue to age and go down that slippery slope, or are we going to stop that aging process and reverse and improve the functionality of our systems in our body? Is there any chance we can get some flexible back patches? They're very stiff, especially for active people. So I'm super active. I don't know what you mean by flexible. They are pretty darn flexible in their movements. So I'm not really for sure what you mean by stiff, because they move. So I don't know, maybe spot flexible Band-Aids. Yeah, that's a no. So this is a 3M hypoallergenic patch. This is a class 1 medical device. And so the way this patch is, it has to be just like this, because what's embedded in this white part, this crystal lattice structure, needs to be safe and secure. And so if you're not finding that it's comfortable back here on the back of your neck, you can put it below your belly button, or you can stick it on your butt. I don't know, you can stick it wherever you want, honestly. I'm saying that because my son puts his on his upper thigh, the X39 and X49. He puts them both on his upper thigh on the right-hand side. So because he said that's the spot for him, that as much as he's on the court and everything he's doing, he likes that spot the best. I'm like, okay, put it wherever you want. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because it's signaling your body to increase its stem cell productions and doing the things that it needs to do, no matter where you stick it. So stick it wherever you need it to be comfortable, Adam. It's totally fine. It'll work.
Stacy,
Yes.
can you address which patches do you wear during the day or which patches do you wear during the evening? What
Yeah.
works better?
So there are patches that can only be worn in the evening. One would be Silent Nights. That's for sleeping. Okay. So that's only a nighttime patch. The other one would be Aloe Vita. Aloe Vita works in that pineal gland, like I'd mentioned earlier with Holly. So that needs to be worn at night as well too. All other patches can be worn during the day. Now, there are some patches that can be day or night. It's up to you and your choice. For example, glutathione, carnosine, and eon, the YH series, those can all be worn day or evening, okay? Whichever one you want. Now, obviously, energy enhancer, not going to be worn at night. It's not an option, right? It's going to increase your energy. We don't recommend X39 or X49 at night because of what they do for energy, endurance, and stamina and things like that as well too. So the rest of them, you're good during the day. LifeWave can be day or night. When you've got pain at night, wear it at night. If you have pain in the day, wear it at day. But the only two that have to be night are the Silent Nights and the Aloe Vita. Good question. What other questions do you guys have?
How about the Nirvana?
Yeah, Nirvana is the bliss patch. So that
Day
is
or night?
pretty much day. I don't have anybody that wears that at night. And based on what it says in here, it just says put it in the morning to clean dry skin. So I've never heard of anybody doing it different from that because that's what it says in the booklet. And typically if you're stressed or you have anxiety or you're depressed, those are things that you're experiencing while you're awake. Believe it or not, you don't experience that consciously while you are asleep, right? And so being depressed is a daytime thing. Having a lot of stress and anxiety may keep you up at night, but if you go to sleep, those are not things you're experiencing. So you would put your bliss patch on in the morning before you head out about your day to keep you in a happy, blissful, joyful state. It's working with the neurotransmitters and neurohormones in your brain, increasing your beta endorphins.
Dr. Stacy, if you add that Nirvana supplement, I do wear the patch in the evening, but I do the supplement and I wear it in the evening because of the benefits I receive from taking the supplement with it for
So
pain.
do you sleep in it?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay. Well, you're the first person I've heard that slept in it. Well, there you go. You sleep in
I
it
do
too,
too.
Joann?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, you guys are starting a trend because I've never heard anybody else sleep in it.
Well,
the
when
flip
my
side-
PTSD was flared up, I wear it at night and I'm able to go to sleep. My mind calms
Good.
down and it's just relaxes after a pretty hectic day.
Good. That's good to hear. I'm glad it's helping you then. I've never heard anybody else use it at night. It's always been a daytime thing. So I've heard a lot of people use Eon at night for anxiety or to keep to calm things down, right? Their monkey mind. They'll use that at bed below the belly button, but it's good to know. Noted. I'll put it in a file folder for you guys.
And I put
Stacey,
the
I had a-
Aeon on my dog the other day when she came back from the groomers. And they had to really trim up her nails and do some stuff. And she hates people to touch her feet.
Mhm.
And she was like high anxiety when she came back. And I put the Aeon right on her forehead, right on her head. And she calmed down within about 3 minutes.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good deal. All right. Hayden said, are all a variety of patches able to be placed on any part of the body or only suggested spots? That's a good question. So the X39, you can stick anywhere. Pretty much the Eon that reduces inflammation, you can stick that anywhere as well too. But all of our clinical studies on all the patches have been done on specific acupuncture points. So these patches work on the different points to work with the different meridians to do what we're saying, obviously based on clinical studies, proven that they're actually doing. And so it's very important when you get the patches in that you look at your spots. Like, for example, if you want energy from Energy Enhancer, don't just stick it wherever you want it, right? It works specifically with two patches, a tan and a white that come in the pack, works with the polarity of your body. You're going to need to pick a spot and put both patches, white right, tan left, on the body. So it's on your inside of your wrist, white right, tan left, right? Or if it's at the top, you've got to stick them where they're on here, because this is where they're proven to do what they say they do. If you want to increase your endocrine system, well, then you're going to have to use the SP6 on the exact locations that will signal the endocrine system on the left side of the body. And that's again what it says, of course, in the instruction booklet right here. Okay, so it's very important that when you get something in that you actually follow the directions on what it says so that you can achieve those optimal results. X39 can be stuck anywhere, but we do, of course, have to have locations based on the clinical studies. And the governing vessel here, the governing meridian, is proven to be a very powerful point in doing what's needed to do on, especially, looking at all the nerves that are coming out of this area right here, right? That conception vessel that's down here, it's very important. And so we typically stay with what's on here based on all the patches, except for the X39 if you need to move it around. Good questions though. What other questions do you guys have?
I have a question that hasn't been brought up yet, but when you are working with children, some of the kids with ADD, ADHD, different aspects of Asperger's and things like that, would you half patch them or full patch them depending on the age?
So I think that is going to be by a case-by-case situation based on what's going on with them. I don't ever half patch anybody.
Okay.
If anything, I could say, wear it for 6 hours, but I'm always one to, let's put the patch on, let's leave it on 12 hours, and let's assess where we are. And if we need to back off and go half the time, we can, but I've never done half patch with kids.
So you would do half the time? Okay.
Yeah. Good question. What other questions do you guys have?
Would you also decrease the amount of days with a child?
Well, yeah, I mean, it depends on what's going on. Obviously, if they have some neurological things on the spectrum or whatnot, they may be, let's just say they're 7 years old. They may need more than, 10 days, 12 days, 30 days using this patch, right? Depending on what's going on with them. And so I would never say that, again, that there's going to be a specific time frame, because everybody's regeneration and repair is different. So I like to look at 90 days, right? For kids, 3 months, anybody that's that, a child, I like to look at 90 days. So I really want to see, whenever new neural networks are formed, new habits, new patterns, that's a 21-day cycle, right? And if you really look at neuroplasticity and you look at significant lasting change in the brain, if you read like Dr. Caroline Leaf's, research and studies, she talks about not just 21 days, but another 21 days and another 21 days. And so we're going to look at that minimum 63-day point to be able to say what's really changed in the body, in the brain, in that time frame. And so I always just set that up like we're worst case scenario, we're looking at 90 days, because a lot can happen in that healing process, right? In that 90-day time frame. And especially with kids, sometimes they're like, boom, and they're good to go. I had a little 4-year-old last year, one of the first moms that started using the patches on her nonverbal, completely non-interactive autistic child that had hearing issues from birth. And within 7 days, he starts looking at you and interacting with you and saying words and trying to communicate his needs. And within just a matter of, a few weeks later, he's full on playing with his older brother. He's bringing juggling balls to his grandpa, wanting him to juggle. And now here he is 14 months later and he's going to school. There's nothing wrong with the kid. How does that happen? His hearing improved right away, like dramatically, like he was covering his ears because normal sounds in the grocery store were loud to him because he hadn't heard things before. He was 4. Does his mom patch him every single day? No, not every day. She uses the glutathione some, she uses the carnosine some, she uses the Eon some, she'll use the X39 some. I mean, he's like good to go, right? How does that happen? I don't know. His little body repaired. So little Michael, cute little thing. Now he's just like, when she gets on the Zoom, he's in the background, jumping all up on her, looking at the screen. And he was completely non-interactive, nothing. Like their lives, their family, because they're really close family, they live out in Sacramento, they're really close family. And having him as a 4-year-old, like none of the family could interact with him. And so it was really a struggle. We get together on holidays and birthdays and, just even doing, Sunday dinners with the family. Grandpa didn't know what to do, right? I can't just get a kid to interact with me. Brother wouldn't interact with him. Now it's like their whole family's like this because he's able to interact and communicate. And it's brought everybody together in a whole different way. So, yeah. What other questions do you guys have? Anything else I can help you with tonight?
It's a quiet bunch tonight.
They're taking it all in.
Yeah. I have a couple questions.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so Denise just got a distributor with Holly and Steph. And so I started with the X39 a week ago Saturday. And I did notice actually that morning, went to play golf and my body and brain kind of worked a little better in sync. After about 4 or 5 days, I thought, well, let me try the energy enhancer with it. And then for the 2 days I did that, I was sleeping better. I've had chronic fatigue for 20 years, but it's the last year's been the best that it's ever been. So I'm on the best end of that, but I still slept better the first few days, but then with the energy enhancer, I did not. And then I stopped it and then it started to be better again. So do you just experiment with those things or?
What time did you put the energy enhancer on?
At 8 a.m. The
What
same
time
time
did you take it off?
at 12 hours.
So it may be just a little too long for you.
Okay.
It affected your sleep. And some people even notice that with the X39. Some people they have to like do 6 to 6, or they put it on at 8 and take it off at 6. So if you notice that it did mess with your sleep quality that had already improved, then take it off earlier. If you're doing 8 a.m., try 4 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
there's
it
nothing wrong with that.
it also kind of messed with I played golf 3 times. And the day I played with the energy enhancer, it was not quite my brain and body were not in sync as much as they were Saturday and the first time.
Too. Where did you put the energy enhancer?
On the shoulders.
Okay, pick a different spot next time you try it. That's why there are different spots, because different people respond. Like I like this spot and I also like the inside of my ankles, but like my friend Laura, she'll only do, and Mel, they'll only do the inside of the arms. Those are the spots that work best for them, but I don't get the same reaction from those spots. Somebody told me the other day that below the knee, they were like zinging with energy. And none of the other spots they tried did it. Is that you too, Holly, below the knee? Yeah. So just play around with it.
Okay. One more question. It's more about the business part of it. We're only just have had it 10 days and we're wanting to experience, so we can testify to what it's done for us. But when the time comes, we have at least 2 or 3 people that we feel might be very interested in positions that they would want to be a distributor to. Would it be better for me to go under Denise, or for us just to do it together under one?
That's a good question. So do you both want to receive a paycheck?
We should, it doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, Yeah, I mean, it all goes to us. Would it be more, that's, I guess, what
That's a
we
good
don't
point.
understand, whether
Yeah.
it would be the same money wise if we just, if everything I brought in went under hers, or if we had hers and then mine.
So that's a great question. So here's the way it works. If you have one business center, then all the people that you would bring in, you would earn whatever product introduction bonus, cycle bonus off your volume.
Right.
The only difference would be is if you had your own business center, you had your own name, your own account, then Denise would actually earn 25% of what you're making every week.
Oh,
Well, that sounds like a good idea.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you would
that-
get to make money, she would get to make money, but she would make money on your money.
okay.
Yeah, that
Well,
sounds
that
right.
sounds like a better, that's what we didn't understand how that worked yet, but
Yeah.
I've got a nurse practitioner that's becoming a functional medicine private physician, and I think I shared a little bit with her and she's pretty interested. We have a couple people that are physical trainers and go to the gym. We're hoping that they would, we can show them and they would be
Yeah.
interested in it.
Just remember, just to share the product with them. You know,
Right.
that's the big thing, is just let them see the technology and what it does. Share the clinical studies if they're into that kind of thing as well too, of course, but just share the product to help them improve their life, right? This is really about, for me especially, this is about vitality and
Right.
prevention and longevity. And so that should be like at the top of everybody's bucket list, right? Like
Right.
longevity, vitality, prevention. Sign me up for all of that. So remember to keep that in mind with people too.
Oh, for sure.
Mhm.
When you share the package or when you share the patches, do you like give them samples or do you encourage them to purchase what they need to
That's a
start?
great question. So, I've done both. I really do like to give a 5-day sample, and not for the point for them to feel or notice anything different in the first 5 days. I want them to get in the habit of putting it on, drinking half their body weight in ounces in water, taking it off 12 hours later, and then repeating that pattern, right? That habit. So again, I always let them know, clinical studies say 3 to 6 weeks. I don't know that you'll experience anything in the first 5 days. It's not really what this is for. It's just for you to be able to, some people want it tangible, something in their hand to really
Yeah.
see it, right? And that's fine. I will tell you though, on the last 14 months, I'm really big in, I don't have the exact number of statistics, but I have given out a lot of samples. I'll just say that. And when I look at my numbers on the people that actually purchase, the majority of them have been gifted. Now, they didn't all buy the second I gave them the 5 days of patch. My brand new manager that just promoted last night, they were on my list. They got patches the very first week that I signed up. And it literally took them 14 months before they were ready to decide to purchase. And then when they did, they're like, why did we wait? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not here to push you, dude. I went ahead and went on to the top of the company in that time, but now you're ready. So let's go. This is fantastic. Your timing's your timing. But I can see that no matter what, they do eventually come on board as customers, and some decide they want to build a business as well too. But I can see that from versus the people that I've just reached out to share information. I can see that time that conversion is different. It's different.
And when you suggested the 5, do you usually start with the X39 or a different
I don't
combination?
sample out anything else. Oh my God, if I
Okay.
start sampling out LifeWave, and I mean, if I'm with you and you're telling me you're in pain, I'm going to put an X39 on and LifeWave on you on the spot. But if I'm not, I'm not going to mail all that in the mail, right? Like it's too much
Yeah.
to drop that in the mail. So I'm going to send you a video. I'm going to get on the phone with you. I'm going to voice message you. I'm going to share this information, share, for you to be able to look and see what it is. But the X39 is the only thing that I've ever mailed out to somebody or given off as samples.
Okay. And then with this being recorded, how would we find this to re-listen to and share?
Yeah. So what I'm going to do, I have to hop off here in just a minute. I have a Zoom at 8:30. And so as soon as this is done, I will stop recording. And then after that 8:30 Zoom, it'll probably be done about 9:15, 9:30. I'll upload this to my YouTube channel and it'll be on there, and I'll save it send it to Joann and Holly.
Oh, okay, great.
We have a group chat with Danielle and Steph. And so Michelle, I'll put it in the chat and you guys can all have it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Anything else I can help you with in the last minute?
Thank you, Stacy. I really appreciate you being here tonight and leading this Zoom call. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Yes.
Been amazing.
Guys, and I mean, I understand sometimes we don't want to talk about our stuff openly, right, in front of everybody, strangers, things like that. If you want to have private conversations, then get back with the person that invited you. We can get in three-way text or chats, or if we need to set up a time to call or Zoom privately, we can definitely do that to help you to make sure we get your questions answered. Just know that you've got with Joann and Steph and Holly, Danielle, you've got some incredible women that are very knowledgeable, that are probably more so knowledgeable in the body than I am. You guys, all your years of hands-on working inside of the body and the things you do. But please know that we're all here to help you, no matter what questions you have, to get whatever questions answered.
Absolutely.
So
Thank
thank
you,
you guys for
Stacey.
being here.
Thank you, Stacy.